Something has got to happen because we can no longer go down the path that we're going down. This country won't last another 6 months. This country won't last another 12 months if something doesn't happen. So it's time to flip the switch. It's time to get involved. It's time to move the line forward. And if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So I don't care what flip the switch is. I don't care if that means that all of this nonsense is nonsense, or if some of it's true. All right. Good evening and welcome to Shadow Man. Oh, I can't get my lighting right. Sorry, folks. I'm just going to be Shadow Man tonight until the sun starts going down, and then maybe I can adjust my light a little bit. I have no idea what I'm doing with the software. So I've done everything that my experience can do. With that being said, we're just going to go ahead and roll on time as usual at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you don't like the intro, don't plug in until 8 o'clock. That's all I can tell you. We play the intro each and every night, and we'll continue to do so. It's a great way to start the show. We got great music, great video that War Machine makes. People love to hop in here and say hello. So remember, we start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that is what time the show kicks off. With that being said, welcome, Warriors. Welcome, World Patriots and my fellow Americans. My name is Shadow Man tonight. Give me liberty or give me death. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. Folks, it is Monday, March 21st, 2022. If people around you are telling you nothing is going on, they are wrong. There is a lot going on. We got Scott with Snafu Radio tonight. He'll be on with us here shortly in just a few minutes. If you don't know who Snafu is, check him out. The ladies are dropping his link in chat right now. You guys can grab that and check Scott out. He has a great program. Scott is a person who just tells it like it is. There's no filter. That's what we enjoy when we spend time with Scott. So, looking forward to the conversation tonight. To let everybody know about Jeff B, because my phone is absolutely blowing up. Jeff B is fine. We talk almost daily, sometimes a couple of times a day. He is busy doing Jeff B stuff. Will he come back on the show? That is the question. I don't know. I'm definitely not going to force him to do anything he doesn't desire to do. So when he wants to, he knows he always has an open invitation here at LWN, whether that is Podbean or YouTube. Jeff's aware of it. Him and I talk daily about all kinds of things popping off and going on right now. So, what do you guys think about Hunter Biden's laptop? That's in the news. Even Bill Barr said it's real. It has a lot of stuff on it. What are your guys' thoughts of Hunter Biden's laptop? How about the fact that there are states still out there murmuring the words decertify? How's that sound to you guys? Well, there's a lot going on. There's been some major drops, major developments in that part of everything that we pay attention to here at LWN. And I know David Jose just dropped something a couple of days ago. And I know that there's going to be another one coming out around the 24th or 25th of this month pertaining to what happened in November of 2020. I'm not going to say the rest of the words because that gets us kicked off of here, but it seems like there's more traction getting started here, and maybe something will happen with it. Maybe it won't. I don't know, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on it. And we have people that have reached out to us and are keeping us informed on what's going on in Georgia. And we are watching Wisconsin as well. Wisconsin, in my opinion, is leading the charge right now when it comes to that. And we will see how far they push it, what happens, and is Georgia going to jump on board? If that happens, are there going to be other states that jump on board? Remember, all it takes is one state. And I know a lot of people think it's way past time. It can't happen. I don't know. In my opinion, there's still a lot of cards to play. There's still a lot of movement, and there are things that can happen. So we're paying attention to it. Shane is doing fine. I talked to him on the phone as well today. There he is there in chat. How's it going, Shane? He seems to have better days, and then he still has some of those bad parts of the day. So Shane, keep him in your prayers. I'm going to go ahead and open in prayer here, and I did see your prayer request there, Tina, for Rick. So I guess there's a tornado touching down here in the United States. So we'll pray a hedge of protection around them. It's good to have Bella back. Say hello to Bella in the chat. Bella is back with us. We're excited to get Mimi back too. I know she's just healing up right now. So she's in recovery. She had a surgery. So we'll be happy to get Mimi back as well. But Bella is back tonight. So welcome back, Bella. Appreciate it. All right, dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you this evening, Lord, and we thank you for your many blessings, Lord. And right now we come to you and ask for a hedge of protection to be placed around Rick, Jay's brother, Lord, as they are dealing with severe weather, possible tornadoes touching down in their own hometown. Lord, we just pray a hedge of protection around Jay's brother. Lord, keep him and his family safe. Keep everyone in that town safe, everyone in the state, Lord, as these severe weather conditions can really wreak havoc, Lord. We just pray that all properties, all animals, all human life is protected right now in your son's precious name. We just plead the blood of Jesus around each and every person involved in that severe weather right now in your son's precious name. Amen. All right, folks. Well, it's been a pretty busy day. And I think it's just this week's going to be pretty busy paying attention to China, possible going into Taiwan. We're still talking about supply chain issues. We're still talking about food shortage. So in my opinion, do what you want, but in my opinion, there's no time like the present to be preparing yourselves for what could happen, for any kind of financial collapse of the economy, um, food shortages. I mean, I'm just telling you, man. I've been telling you guys for months now. I've been prepping, um, and I'm not going extreme. I'm just using my common sense, and it just seems like it's on the horizon. And I know when Scott gets here, we'll talk about a little bit of that and see his thoughts on that, what he's seeing, what he's hearing in his circles. But I'm telling you right now, man, I am definitely preparing for the worst and praying for the best and put my faith in God. And this has all got to play out. I tell you right now, we're in a position to where whatever is going to happen cannot be stopped. Plain and simple. It will not be stopped. It can't be stopped. So just do what you can for your family and make sure that when you can purchase a couple extra cans of food or whatever it is that you grab those, grab you some extra water. Try to have a second water source if you can. Try to have a second power source if you can. More importantly, I would say um, probably have some cash on hand. Now we've talked about this several times on the show. If and when there is a financial collapse, cash will be king for a short window. I would say probably somewhere around 24 to 48 hours. If you have a few $100 cash on you, I would say at that point you can buy anything you want. Cash is king. But if they decide that they're going to do away with cash, which I believe they probably will, then I would say as soon as they find out that the cash is worthless, you won't be able to buy anything with cash. So, what are your options at that point? I would say your options are silver is good to have, gold is good to have, small denominations of both. So it's easily traded. You don't want a big, 1 pound bar of gold. It's going to be hard to trade for that. So I would say silver coins, little silver tablets that you can buy from Miles Franklin. And then I would say anything will become commodity. So extra food. Um, if you got a farm, you can provide eggs. Um, those things are going to be tradable. So even if you don't have precious metals, I know some of us have been stocking up on some rice and beans just to make sure you can get through a tough time. Um, when the shelves are bare, the shelves are bare. There's nothing you can do about that. You can't wish food back on the shelf. So I'm just telling you guys. Hey, Alan, how you doing, brother? You see Shadow Man again today. I don't know how to fix this, so I'm just going with it tonight. It is what it is. But I don't know, folks. It's looming. Like I can feel this shift getting ready to happen. And I think timing is everything. So whether you believe the black hats are in charge or the white hats are in charge or whatever you believe, I believe everything is going to be timing, and it's got to. I mean, they've got to have some type of event to usher this in. We talk about it lots of times here, so I don't know what to tell you guys other than just keep the faith and just be prepared, and whatever happens happens, and we're going to be fine. We're all going to get through it. One way or another, we'll get through it. What happens to the money in the bank? That's a great question. So we talked earlier today about how they've already been using digital currency for quite a while, or at least digital transfers, digital money. Um, I mean, you can see it on your phone app. I was explaining to people today. I have several different bank accounts, and I can transfer money between bank accounts instantly. Okay, that's digital. It's already here. It's been here for a long time. It's probably been here longer than 10 years, but see, they can't usher it in nonchalantly. So they have to have an event to usher it in. And when they usher it in, they're going to usher it in all at the same time. And when I mean all at the same time, I guess that would mean the entire world. It's not going to be just the United States. So I'm prepared for it. I'm ready to go. So I hope you guys are doing the same thing out there. Well, we're still waiting for Scott to show up here. He's having some technical difficulties. I never said there was no more Jeff B. I'm going to have to get a little whiteboard up here and draw it out. I never said there was no more. I just said he will pick and choose when he comes on. And maybe he'll go on somebody else's channel. I heard he was on someone else's channel. Jeff will do what Jeff wants to do. But I do talk to him daily. So here's something that I found very interesting. There is firefighters in Australia that were, I guess, in the news the other day. And there was some facial recognition done on them. And it seems to be that they're also in the Ukraine at the same time. How does that happen? How does that happen? Just kind of a weird thing that I found out today that I heard. Somebody told me. Firefighters in Australia also are in the Ukraine. That's just weird. Why am I blacked out? Well, because I'm on the road right now and the lighting is difficult. And I can't figure out how to get the lighting just right so I can use my camera properly. So you got Shadow Man tonight. Yeah, I'm Agent Shadow Man. So anyway, folks, like I said, if people around you are telling you nothing's going on, I have to disagree. I have to strongly disagree. Just so much happening right now. I mean, it looks like, in my opinion, that Hunter Biden could be indicted. I mean, it looks like Bill Barr is now out there on Fox News saying that it's real. So there is so much in the news right now. They're also worried about Russia using hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic missiles. So they can reach a target 1,250 miles away in 7 to 8 minutes. That's pretty concerning to me. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Let me send a link real quick. Hold on a second. There we go. All right. What else have you guys seen in the news that you want to talk about tonight? What else have you guys? Bill Barr is corrupt. Well, I'm not saying Bill Barr is a superhero by any means, but just him coming out and saying that, it just it kind of opens your eyes a little bit. Like, is there something getting ready to happen? I mean, this is the president, supposedly the president of the United States' son. Now, he even made mention of holding this information back during the election cycle. Why did he do that? I don't like that at all. And I said that for a long time is if that would have been T's children, any one of them, that would have been headline news for months. They would have never let that down. Ever. But because it is his kid, they just swept that under the carpet until now. And I don't think that they've got away with anything yet. I think it's getting ready to surface. And it's going to be a big thing when it does. I really do. I believe, yeah, Barr equals traitor. I don't disagree with that. I think he's getting caught. I think he's getting caught in hot water right now. I'm just reading chat, folks. Joyce, I don't know about Putin and Trump had a call on Sunday. I haven't heard anything about that. So if they did, I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard anything about it. Yeah, Bill Barr is definitely eating crow. I agree with that, Sherry. I definitely agree with that. He looks uncomfortable when he's in front of the camera. He's been asked these questions, and now he kind of seems like, in my opinion, he's kind of backpedaling a little bit, and he's like, oh well, it is true. Well, you knew it was true back in 2022, and you did nothing about it. So why the question should be, why didn't you do something about it? That's my question. Let's bring Shane in here for a minute. What's up, Shane?
Well, I just wanted to jump in. I've been listening to some of this, and like I said, I've been kind of distant from all this information. I just need to break, and I'm going to tell you, what you're bringing up tonight is very, very. Uh, I wouldn't say discerning, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's very interesting, and yeah, I would have lots. Well, I do have lots of questions, but I'm not going to ask them tonight. I just wanted to come on and let everybody know that I was still alive because I've had a lot of people texting me asking me if I'm still alive, and I'm still alive. I just don't want, I when I hear this stuff, I'm thinking, what's really going on? I mean, we got to look at the big picture, and it makes a person wonder. You got to step back and look what's really going on. And there's something out there that's going on that we may be in trouble. If we don't do something about this pretty quick, we're in trouble. Now, with this bonehead, Mr. Potato Head in charge, uh, we're in trouble. We cannot do another year or two of this. He has done everything he could, just like Big Ears did, to destroy this country. And he is well on his way to doing it in a hurry. I know he's in a hurry because he knows he ain't going to get another term. But by God, I hope like hell some of these orders he's setting out. I hope like hell we can get rid of them.
Yeah,
That's
he signed an executive order, Shane, to usher in digital currency to get away from to get away from paper money. That was an executive order that just happened recently. And like I said, they've been working on this for over a decade. So,
digital
banks are
currency is
banks.
wonderful. But here's the problem. Is if the government runs it, the government can shut it off.
Correct. And that's why
you
we
don't
don't
do
want
what they want, and you don't vote the way they want. You're shut off. There's nothing you can do.
It's all tied to social credit as well. So I've been talking about this all day today with other people. The banks are going to give you excuses of why they're shut down. I know other people have already been reporting their banks have been closed and odd days, odd hours, this, that, and the other. So they're really trying to push this in, and I'm here to tell you, it's coming. It's not that far away. I don't think we have to wait much longer.
I know, and that's what's scary. And that's what's scary. It's we've got to do something. I don't know whether it's the states need to separate themselves from the federal, which I think they should have never been with the federal. I think the states should still be running shit. We should still have a vote on every damn dime they spend. I don't think the politicians should be flying all over the world, taking tours on our dime without us voting on it or taking some of us with them. I really don't think so. I mean, it's $200,000 an hour. And then if they got military support, it's $400,000 an hour. Now, we got ambassadors for that. Why in the hell do we need politicians flying all over the world? We got summits from California, and they think they want to fly all over the world. And they can't even take care of their own state. And we're getting to a point that's getting scary, guys. It's getting very damn scary.
Yeah, it's concerning for me. I'm not scared. I'm concerned, and I'm just trying to pay attention to everything that's laid out before us. Carbon footprint. They want to do away with 50% of carbon footprint by 2040. So they say that we should endure, just put a smile on your face and endure these high gas prices.
Well, let me ask you this. We have to pay higher prices for gas and quit driving, but yet they can fly their planes $200,000 an hour all over the friggin' world.
Hypocrisy.
No, it's bullshit.
Yeah,
it's bullshit.
Do as I say, not as I do. That's their motto. Exactly. Has been that's been their motto for 50 years. Do as I say, not as I do. And they live high off the hog while the rest of us are supposed to just we're just supposed to kneel down and be their peasants, and that's not happening.
Yeah, we're peasants. What's some of them memes from with Pelosi and stuff from the United Spot? Yeah, we're peasants. All we are is a cash cow for them. We produce everything. We make all the food. We make all the goods. And they make all the money. Now, how in the hell is that correct?
Well, for one thing, Shane, I think the cash cow is out of cash.
The cash cow is out of cash.
Nancy Pelosi made statement the other day that they'll just keep printing money because that will get us out of the recession. That is the drinker. That is the drinker of the house making that statement.
The drinker of the house. That's a position I want. I want the drinker of the house position. I promise you, people would love me. They do not love her. The only thing they love about her is when she shuts up.
Or disappears.
Or disappears, yes. Or gets arrested. Yeah, that would be a beautiful sight. Yeah, you've got to, Mike, and I apologize. I have to apologize to you, but I get aggravated at some of this stuff. I got worked up last night a little bit. I jumped on Chuck's, and I got worked up a little bit, and jacked my blood pressure up a little bit. But I'm gonna tell you, these people out here that run our country are tyrants, and they think they own us. And there is no one that owns the American people. Period. We're not from UK. We're not from Israel. We're not from China. You don't friggin' own us. We're the United States people. And people got to remember, you got to get back to being the United States people instead of the United States slaves. And that is, I'm going to tell you, it's very aggravating. I've listened. I try to turn my computer on unless you're on, Mike. But I listen to a lot of things that's going on. And I see a lot of things that's going on with the gas prices. But I'm going to tell you, you've got to get away from this tyranny that we live. And everybody says, oh, it's tyranny if you go against it. No, bullshit. It's tyranny what we're living through. We're all suffering. Tyranny means, the actual word tyranny means that the people suffer. Not one person or 100 people that, your biggest supporters. No, that is not tyranny. Tyranny is the people of America suffer. And that's what we got to get back to is the people of America suffer. We've got to get this back somehow. How do we do that, Mike? That's the question. How do we do that?
Well, I can tell you for a fact there are people fighting back, Shane. We had a really great pod bean this afternoon with the captain from the airline, and he has filed lawsuit against the airline company. He reported today that there are 10 other individual pilots that have all joined together to do a class action lawsuit against the airlines for the tyranny that you speak of, Shane. There are also flight attendants, it sounds like, that are going to unite and also fight back on this tyranny. So there are a lot of things happening. There are a lot of battles out there, a lot of battlegrounds, and we are winning some of them. And see, this courage that one person has is breeding courage for other people, and more people are joining the fight. So how do we get rid of this tyranny? We have to get involved. We can't just sit there and wait uh, for the white hats to swoop in and change everything back to normal. I don't think people realize this,
I
Shane. We will never go back to normal as it was pre 2020. There will never be a normal
No,
like that.
there is no normal.
No matter
The
what
new
direction
normal
we
will
go,
be what we make it.
correct. No matter what direction we go, it will not be what it was. It could be
No,
a whole lot better if we choose to make it that way, or it could definitely be a lot worse if we allow it to happen. Those are our two choices.
absolutely. No, and I agree with that 1,000,000%. We just, we're in a world of hurt, man. And we was hoping like hell this guy that kicked this freaking bee's nest and stirred up this bee's nest would save us. And it hasn't happened. And it keeps getting worse. And now we're paying the cost. But yet they're still getting rich. Every one of them's getting rich. And I'm like, everybody's still getting rich but us. So what the hell we do? We've got to stop this horse shit. And there's only one way to do that.
I don't
And
disagree with
I
you,
don't
Shane.
have the answer.
Yeah, James says when you elect clowns, you get a circus. I totally agree
Oh,
with that.
absolutely. I
Totally agree with that
I
statement.
seen it and I read that and I'm going like, hell yes, that's one of the smartest things I've seen. But Mike, I jumped on because for one, I missed the show.
Well, we
And
missed
two
you, Shane.
is I'm sick of this horse shit. We've got to do something different, guys. We've got to bond together and change this shit.
Well,
Somehow.
I think it's coming. I think it's coming. I really think that there are a lot of things being played behind the scenes that a lot of it we're just not aware of, and I just think that I think we're going to see true patriotism here real soon. That's all I'm going to say. But you know what? How about if we drop the link and see what other people want to call in and say? How's that?
No, that's fine. That's fine. I just jumped in here just for a minute. I mean, if I need to go
Well,
because I know
yeah. Hang out with us, but don't let your if you got to bounce because of your blood pressure, don't let that ruin your night.
no. Right now, my blood pressure is pretty good. I did the stupid thing again, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I think there is Cynthia. I think there is a potential, and I'm only going to say it this way. I think there's a potential of that person's son being indicted. Now, what do they do with the indictments after that? Are they going to round him up? Are they going to haul him off? I don't know, but I believe he'll be indicted. I truly believe that. Let's get our first caller here. This is Johnny. How's it going, John?
Man, what a great conversation.
Hey, buddy.
And
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm blessed there, Brother Shane. But we are living in strange days and times, but there are so many things that we are hidden. And it's either two realities. And one is that Joey Dimes is truly in charge. And if he is, that's a scary thought. And that will lead us to an economic turmoil. And it appears evident that he would drive us toward a kinetic World War III. And that's a scary thought. That's frightening. I don't think Vladimir is a guy that you want to play with. But I think that so much evidence of what a lot of us have looked at when we look at the Ukraine is verifiable. The deep history, and I always go back to history because if you understand and if you've looked at Operation Paperclip, and you look at what happened after World War II and the fact that the United States of America and Russia took Nazis, some of them from the SS, scientists, and they brought them into the United States of America. And then they also planted them in Russia, and the part of Russia that they were settled in, the Soviet Union, was the Ukraine. And all of the little verbiage about biolabs and the location of biolabs in the Ukraine under the Soviet Union and their advancement, that was all carried out by these same captured German scientists. They were allowed to live in anonymity because there was a large cry from the Jewish population to round them up, find them, and they were actually protected by not only In our country, they were protected by the three-letter agency, begins with a C and ends with an A, and it was the same thing in the Soviet Union. Vladimir's old group that he belonged to, they protected those individuals because Adolf had actually advanced a vast amount, and you've got to go back and then look at World War One. And in World War One, the Germans actually used mustard gas, and our military, the European military, weren't equipped for it initially. And then you look at the creation of gas masks and all of the things to protect themselves. And all of that came about through World War One. But after World War One, Adolf recognized it because you got to look at his history as a soldier and then his time in jail and the writing of Mein Kampf and everything that he did. And then the people that he placed in control of the Third Reich, all of the military minds, right now, when we have to use code words, that's censorship, and a massive censorship. When you talk about Joey Dimes' son and his business dealings inside the Ukraine, and the fact that Mr. Barr knew about it, and everyone knew what was on the laptop. And then what did they do? They censored it. They enlisted the media talking heads. They enlisted people inside the intelligence community to come out and say, "Oh, no, that's some Russia disinformation. That's not, that's just the Republicans. They're Donald, Mr. T is aligned with the Soviet Union and Russia." And it was all a scam and it was all a lie, and they knew it. But yet they did it through censorship. They censored it and I'm talking about national newspapers. You couldn't breathe a word about that laptop anywhere. You were going to be struck down, taken down. And then think of what Dr. Fauci's done. Same thing, anything that they don't want us to disseminate the truth. And when you find the truth, and that's what we're all looking for, answers to all this craziness. Well, I think that Vladimir said exactly what he was doing. He said he was going to go in and he was on a controlled military mission, operation. That's his words. And that he was going to denazify the Ukraine. Yeah, yes. Could be. Maybe he knew where the Nazis that were settled in the Soviet Union, maybe he knew where they ended up at and what they were in control of, because they became very powerful people inside of our government. Werner Braun, whatever his name was, the rocket man, the scientist that, had great income from NASA. But all of that history is not just wiped away, but it does give us some insight that there's two sides to this story. And why is our mainstream media only allowing us to see what it is that they want to paint the story? You got one person in the mainstream media that at least offers some context that, look, maybe things aren't what they seem for the Ukraine, and maybe there is some valid reasons, but that's one guy. And then the rest of them, and they're continuing to build the narrative because no human wants to suffer and see a child taken out in any war, to see civilians killed in any war. But then ask yourself, with the $2.7 billion that we sent the U.S. against Vladimir's wishes to set them up and defend them and give them military equipment. And then think about the $350 million. The minute it looked like that he was going to make a move, $350 million went to the president over there And you divide that by 43 million Ukrainians, and you could have said, okay, look, I'm going to give you $2 million for every civilian. Take your children, take your wives, and take a 6-month vacation while we sort this out between the military. Not a single civilian ever has to lose their life if you're talking dollars and cents in the reality. But what did the man do? He said, okay, bust up the armaments and let's start arming the civilians. Well, once there is a war and you arm a civilian and that civilian takes that armament with him, whether he's trained with it or not, he then becomes an enemy combatant. And if he runs into a building where there are children and women and, civilians, and this untrained, unskilled enemy combatant enters somewhere and he fires down the street at an oncoming tank or any piece of military equipment, it's war, for Christ's sake, and they're going to take them out. And so we don't know. We're not getting the truth. I guess that's my point, is we're not getting the truth of either side. We are not able to use discernment when the facts and the truth are not openly revealed and talked about. The history of between Vladimir and the Ukraine, his conversations from 2010 forward, and in the 90s when they removed the nukes and we disarmed their nuclear weapons that were Soviet nukes. Some of them were shipped back to the Soviet Union. The ones that weren't, the ones that remained and outdated, they disassembled and they got them all out of the Ukraine. They disarmed themselves. And that was the mission of the whole deal, was that Ukraine would become a neutral nation and be allowed to exist in NATO. The very people now that are in Poland and Joey Dimes threatening, that 1 inch of NATO soil, they were all told point blank, do not arm the nation states along my border. Now, that's pretty plain.
Yeah.
Read into the United Nations.
Yep.
Went to the UN, told them all.
Yeah, Putin doesn't want NATO around. Putin doesn't want NATO on his borders. And this is what I'm excited about. I want to tell everybody tonight. I'm excited, and I haven't been excited for a long time. If you've been watching this channel, I haven't been excited for a long time, but I'm telling you right now, the shift is coming, and I see things that are going to happen. And I know things are going to happen, and they're going to be big things. So I'm telling you guys right now, buckle up and prepare for. There could be a short time there where you're going to have a hard time getting things. So just be prepared, because this financial collapse, whether it's good or bad, they'll have to be in my opinion, an EBS that goes off that tells everybody, hey, look, things are not, things just happened, and they're going to usher in, whether it be the good or bad, whichever you believe, one of those things is definitely going to take hold, and I can only hope for the best of it. And I think we're going to see some arrests. I think we're going to see a lot of things transpire and it's going to be in a short amount of time. It's not going to be drug out for months and months and months and months. I think it's going to take off. It's going to be, well, what did Jeff B say? A garden? No, it wasn't a garden hose. It was a fire hose. Yeah. Fire hose to the face. Yeah. And I think it's coming.
It's already there, brother. And there's a lot of evidence to that, because when you look then, okay, I give you the history of the Ukraine and how the Nazis got there and but there's another thing, another key to that. When Kazakhstan, Khazarians located their largest central bank in Europe for money laundering. And guess where that is? Kiev. Guess where Burisma? And when you hear Burisma, then you can attach Hunter to that. And we know that money laundering scam. We know the shell corporations by many of our representatives, both senators and congresswomen, had children doing business through shell corporations, saying they were in the energy game. And think about Vladimir too. Every pipeline that runs from Russia through the Ukraine was put in the Soviet era. They were built, the huge pipelines, gas pipelines, oil pipelines. That's why he made the move in 2014 to get to Crimea, because they were charging him an excess tax. In Louisiana, we got more pipelines probably than anywhere other than Texas and Oklahoma for the shipment of oil and gas. And guess what? We get pennies for every cubic foot. You know, we make pennies per every barrel that's shipped through that pipeline. And the federal government or the state that's receiving it, that comes into the Louisiana coffers. That's how we run this state. Well, now it's no different for Vlad. So the Ukraine is not charging Vlad pennies. It started out at 50 cents a barrel, then $1 a barrel, then $2 a barrel. And see, no one is talking about what the Ukraine and the criminals of the USA, because the two weapons places are located in, guess where? Kiev and Odessa. Where is Vlad circling and encompassing? He has pinpoint targets that he knows he has to take out. But here's the thing. What is the mainstream media? What are they telling the American population? Better be careful. He's backed in a corner. He's liable to unleash a bioweapon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because you know what they know? Our Department of Defense funded and built them, and that's where they're at, Odessa and Kiev. And guess who's got control of them right now? Not Vlad, but what's Vlad doing? He's sitting on the outside. And if they, and that's why he went to Chernobyl first. He had to protect, because he's not by any means a dummy, especially when it comes to military and his planning, and everybody's painting him as being trapped and he's in a corner. BS. You better wake up and smell the coffee, because there's nothing trapped about Vlad. He's taken pinpoint Chernobyl. He was afraid that the Ukrainians would light that place up, and then they'd have what? Another nuclear incident. So what did he do? He took it down first and protected it, surrounded it, and said, no, you're not going to trick me like that. And it's the same thing with these labs.
Yeah. So I reported last week that the president of the Ukraine told the Russian soldiers that if they wanted to surrender, he'd treat them with dignity or whatever. The thing is Russia is holding all the cards right now, and they actually had hypersonic missiles hit targets on the outskirts on the border of Ukraine. They hit a fuel depot. They hit an ammunition cache. I mean, they're precision strikes coming out of the Black Sea. And when you talk about the criminals from the United States, I reported last week where he actually went in and put sanctions on the certain family that the Clinton family, the Biden family, seized assets, and then the United States turns around and tries to put sanctions back on him with they're trying to sanction the Russian oligarchs, and so they're fighting back that way, and it's just a chess match right now. Thank you, Beth Combs, for the super chat. Appreciate that. She says, "Thanks for your information, Mike and John, in chat. Much appreciated." I'm telling you, there's so much going on right now. You really just gotta pay attention, because it's fast paced. It's happening at a fast pace. And we're just sitting here watching. Well, I hate to say it, but it's kind of like sitting and watching a movie.
Yeah. So let's cover something, because I know that folks always, as an old warrior in this deal, and I always tell people we're in two realities, and then you always follow the money. Follow the money. So now we know that over the last few years that we have funneled massive amounts of dollars into the Ukraine. And in that, I'm gonna tell you a story, and this is a true story about a state senator from the state of Louisiana. And we actually followed her and tracked her cash, and her husband was a real estate broker. And the highest priced real estate in the United States of America is in about 5 counties surrounding Washington, D.C. And here's the scam. So he would go and he would actually purchase homes in this high valued real estate market surrounding these 5 counties, surrounding in Virginia, surrounding Washington. He would buy a home. And then come to find out, when he would put the home, he owns it now, and he would put the home on the market for 2 times what he paid for it. And guess who would come in and purchase the homes? Oh, union leaders? Oh, lobbyist defense contractors? Oh, contract military builders for ships in Louisiana. They need a $2.5 million home in Virginia. So then, okay, now that's not on her when she goes and she fills out her little deal in their form. Same thing for Nancy. What was Nancy Paul Pelosi's game? Real estate, San Francisco, her district. Any government building that ever came up to go under contract and long-term lease, guess who owned the real estate? Paul Pelosi. Now, Nancy's disclosure of her wealth, think about their salaries. They don't make that much freaking money.
Exactly.
So they're taking in a couple. Let's just say, okay, they're 200,000, and I can get you the exact. I don't care, but because the bottom line is how do they get there? And they occupy as congressman. They do 2 years. Then they got to run again. They get elected for 2 more years. Say they're there, they get 3 terms up there, and they go up there, and he's a poor son of a gun selling insurance in a local community, or he's a doctor or an attorney, and then he gets to D.C., and in those 3 terms, all of a sudden, he becomes a millionaire. How did he get that money? How did they funnel that money to him? And where's it at on his financial disclosure? Guess what? If it's my children, they are not obligated to declare what I funneled or what they funneled to me through my campaign. They can give me massive campaign contributions, and I can build up a huge war chest. But how do you know? And think about Joey Dimes, and that's why I call him Joey Dimes. He's nothing but a freaking bag man. He's a corrupt son of a gun. Him, his brother, his son, his whole freaking family. And he's not the only one. They all do this. So now why Ukraine? So you shipping money, $2.7 billion. That's $64 million per Ukrainian citizen. So you send them $2.7 million to a DOD, Department of Defense budget, right? And it's a line item budget. You can go look it up. You can pull the documents up. So we're sending them this money. And think about what Mr. T in the phone conversation that the impeachment deal was all about. Is he had a phone conversation with the young man that's right there now defending the Ukraine and telling him you got to clean up your act. You know, if you truly are a man of the people and you're going to try to root out the corruption, because we know the corruption exists, we know what's going on. And if you're not going to open these investigations, and then what did he do? Nothing. He didn't take any action. And then when the indictment came, it was too late. But at any rate, think about how they funnel that. So I get 2.7 that goes to the Ukrainian government. and it's deposited in, a Caesarian bank, central bank. And I just happen to have and think about and track the airplane flights of every congressman and every senator that has ever made a fact-finding trip to the Ukraine. And what did they get on the airplane with? And what did they get off the airplane with? These people are foul, they're corrupt.
They've all been compromised in
Every one
one
of
way
them.
or another. They've all been compromised. I'm gonna drop a bomb right here. I'm gonna let you guys know something. Check this out. Okay. So in this omnibus package that they're getting ready to pass, it's another. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. I don't remember the number exactly because there's so many numbers in my head. It's somewhere around 1.5 trillion with a T. Just so you guys know, 1.5 trillion with a T. And in this omnibus package, our politicians are giving themselves a 24% cost of living raise. Okay, now I'm going to be very, very conservative with my number, but I think you'll get the gist of it. If they are making $145,000 a year, if they get a 24% raise on top of that, that means they'll be making $180,000 as our elected officials. Now, with that being said, here in Idaho, I was reading an article today. I'm going to read it to you guys. This is really going to, if this doesn't set a fire under your ass, there's something wrong. So check this out. Let me read this article to you. This is the housing market here in Boise, Idaho. And I want to read this to you because it's very, very important. When I'm telling you guys a financial collapse, 21%, 21, 24, it don't matter. It's still a lot of money, okay? When I tell you guys a financial collapse is on the horizon, now listen to this. This is Boise, Idaho, and I'm going to give you guys some numbers, and it's gonna be a parallel to these guys here. So in February of 2012, the median price of an Ada County home was $158,000. Now, I spent many years in the Boise Valley working and building these homes. You could get a starter home for right around 90,000 to 110,000. This was back in the very early 2000s. Okay. So inflation has gone up drastically. So this is a medium price house. Now, a medium price house back in those days was probably right around this price. It was about 160,000. When you started getting into a home that was about 200,000, you're talking a lot of nice things in that home for 200,000. It was a really, really nice home. So in 2012, the price was 158,000. By February of 2017, it jumped to 256,000, up 62.4%. 5 years later, February of 2022, that medium price house in the Boise Valley is now $550,000. That's an 114.3 increase from 2017. Why am I bringing this up? Well, the cost of living in Ada County went from 53,000 in 2012 to a 12.9% higher in 2017 to 60,000. And now it's estimated that this year it'll increase to $77,000. And this is for a medium household income. This is mom and dad both working. So you tell me, if mom and dad both working, making a combined income of $77,000, how are they going to afford a $550,000 home? Now, here's something else that I noticed over the weekend on Facebook on one of my links. In my little hometown where I live, a house that I wired back in 2008, the price tag on that was about $110,000. I just saw a real estate agent put out a post this weekend for that exact same house. They wanted $450,000 for that house. Why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because the hyperinflation that we're experiencing right now is growing at such a rapid pace that the cost of living is not catching up to it. It is surpassing your cost of living. Anybody that goes out and gets a raise tomorrow for $1 or $2, it doesn't matter. It's already spent. It's already gone. You're not going to catch up to the inflation with that type of raise. Now, our elected officials just went and gave themselves a 24% increase cost of living for themselves. Folks, they are taking care of themselves and they don't give a damn about us.
Yeah, because that 24% is going to assist them with the inflation. So they covered their ass.
It's almost an extra 40,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's almost an extra 40,000 a year for their inflation, and yet we get these little pissant raises that mean nothing. They mean nothing. And the problem is that $550,000 home, what is that going to do to the cheeseburger down the road? So now your cheeseburger is going to start costing you $30, $40 for a cheeseburger. You go to Subway and that $14 sandwich is now going to be $35. Hang on, folks. I'm telling you, hang on. The shift is coming, and you can't stop it. It's already in motion. The ball is rolling down the hill, and it can't be stopped.
You know, the reality is that since 1933, and with the 1917 was the central banking, but since 1933, if you track annually, we have never not been in inflation because our currency is debt. We don't have, and it's a debt note. It's all debt, apothecated debt. I don't want to get down because because I don't want to drive people over the edge with the fact that we are bought, sold, and collateralized from birth. And that started in 1933 moving forward. So when you're born and then they monitor your education, they monitor your mom and dad and you're standing in their community, and they set a value, a bond value to what you are going to produce over your work lifetime. And then they say, well, okay, at 25, he's going to get out of college. He's going to have a degree. He's going to go into this field, and he will have an earning potential from that time to 65 years of age of X number of dollars. And you go in with your little self and your first bride there, and you decide you want to buy you a home, and you walk into the bank, and the bank's going to ask you, and you're going to fill out all your financial information, and you're going to give them your social security number, which is attached to your birth certificate. And that bond is already said, oh, John is going to be worth about that much. Yeah, he's good for it. And the apothecated debt part of it is then they are going to loan you money that belongs to you. Understand that. When you're buying that house, that bank is handing you money that was always yours from the time you were born. And as the bond on your life. And that's the criminality behind this that a lot of us know, a lot of us understand. We understand the Internal Revenue Service and everything evil about that. And the fact that none of your money, when you sit down and you go through all the turmoil of filling out an income tax return, and you send that income tax check in if you owe taxes, or they send you back whatever pennies after they keep what they want, where do you think that? Do you think that that's deposited in Washington frickin' D.C.? No, not no, but heck no. That goes to the central bank, the Federal Reserve. And who decides what the United States can and can't print when it comes to debt currency? Because it's all debt. It's apothecated debt. When you get that mortgage and you're paying that bank, boy, and you're a good citizen, you are a worker, you are fulfilling the American dream, and you're paying that bank double.
You're a slave.
You're a freaking slave to it. And then guess what they did then? Then over the decades, they decided, how they would set municipalities up and governments, county commissions. And the one thing they can do is, I don't care who you are, if you think my home is free, and right now I'm telling you, I live in a home, I have no mortgage, but I know the reality because I've gone and taken on the local government for my property rights. And it becomes very clear that after 1990, in the ascension to the entire United Nations plan for global governance, they started to remove and chip away through planning and development zoning and setting up regional governance. Not where it's just your county. Now they got 5 counties joined together, and it's unelected bureaucrats. You don't elect none of them, but they sit on that planning council, and they decide what you can and what you can't do and what you must do to your home. So they say, John, you don't have a mortgage, but boy, we don't like that water system you got out there. Mm-hmm. And we're going to need you to update that. And you say, God dang, I'm on Social Security, fixed income, and I just ain't got, well, no, you got 90 days. And if you don't get it done in 90 days, we're going to move you. Or they decide that your little community you live in is going to be zoned for industrial use only. And what can they do? What is it that they call that when the government just goes and they want a piece of property and they take
domain,
eminent domain.
Eminent domain. There you go.
And I know of a
and I don't want, I don't want people to get scared with the conversation that we're having. This isn't trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to give you guys the reality. I'm seeing comments in there where somebody paid $100,000 for their home and now it's worth $400,000. This is the problem. This is why I'm telling you that this is in motion and can't be stopped, because you can take that house that you now own, that you paid $100,000 for it, and you can sell it for $400,000. But the problem is you're going to make a lot of money, but you can't replace it. It's just like your vehicle. We're having huge problems right now. People selling their used vehicles for such a high price because the used car market is inflated so big, but they can't turn around and replace the vehicle. So you're caught on a two-edged sword here. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So you could make a lot of money by selling something, but you're not going to be able to replace it. So what do people do? Is it smart? Is it wise for them to maybe sell and then turn around and maybe go buy a brand new fifth wheel and live in that, and, stuff away a couple $100,000? I'm not a financial advisor, but it doesn't sound horrible.
No, but let's get to the reality of why that was that you paid $100,000, and in today's market now you could turn around and you can flip it for $400,000. You know why? Because your dollar value is decreased. Your dollar ain't worth a pinch of hen shit.
Yeah,
it's devalued. So you're thinking, oh man, I got $300,000 more. No, your buying power has not shifted at all because the dollar has devalued.
It's actually gotten weaker.
Weaker.
I think Shane. Shane come on one day, and I think he said he looked this up, and maybe somebody can look it up for us real quick. I believe the last time Shane came on here and we talked about the value of the dollar, I believe Shane told us it was worth somewhere around 34 cents.
Exactly.
Now I could be wrong on that, but now listen, that was before high gas prices and everything else. So I'm telling you right now, 34 cents, it's probably a lot less than that right now. So yeah, you're right, John. So if somebody says, hey, I got $300,000 profit in my house, you're wrong. You like I said, you can't replace it. There's no way you can go out there and replace that exact same house. It'll cost you a fortune to do it, and you won't have it no matter what you sell your house for. So that's what I'm saying. This shift is coming. It's going to happen. It has to happen. We can no longer go down this road. And I said it in our opening statement. If you watch the intro, we can no longer go down this road. It will not sustain. So what does that mean? Does that mean the Great Reset, or does that mean the other thing that everybody likes to talk about?
The Great Awakening.
The Great Awakening. and a financial system that comes in that's gold backed and actually has value. Now there are gold backed currency already currently in the United States. I believe Utah is a state, Wyoming. There's 4 or 5 states that are gold backed. So I don't know, man. I'm telling you guys right now, it is on the horizon, and it will be here before you know it.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. And here's the thing. And a lot of folks don't, and I always ask people, go check out the U.S. debt clock so that you understand why this is not sustainable. It's not possible. Right now, we are upside down 139% of our gross domestic product. That means that we're negative 139. So that means everything, gross domestic product is everything that this nation produces and sells either to the citizens, foreign governments, whatever. All of our production, we are minus 139%. So that means we're spending 139% above our gross domestic product.
Correct.
That's everything we make, every drop of oil, everything. And we're
John.
spending more than that.
Yeah, John. So I at one time, and forgive me, folks, the number could be wrong, but I think you'll get the point that John and I are trying to make here. At one time recently, I believe that number that you're talking about right now was right around $3 trillion. I believe it was right around 3 trillion. Now back up 18 months and take a look at all the stimulus, all the bailout, all the trillions and trillions of dollars that our government is passing bills and spending this money. And what does that add up to? I guarantee you it's at least twice what you're talking about right now. We are spending twice what we bring in with that revenue that you're talking about. So if it's 3 trillion, I guarantee you in the last year we're spending over 6 trillion. I guarantee it.
Way above that. And here's the reality on that. So that's on an annualized basis. That's what we did in 1 year. But in the reality, when you go and you look at the debt clock and you see the over $30 trillion of annualized debt, okay, then you go down and you look at unfunded liabilities on the debt clock. And in that is Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and all of the things that we give and have promised to senior citizens and people paid into it. And it's all in the red. And that our total debt is up around $139 trillion in debt. And over on the very side of that number, from down at the bottom of unfunded liability, it says what each tax paying citizen. Now there's 332 million Americans, but only 37% of those Americans are actually taxpayers, people that are working. And each taxpayer, to pay back the debt, owes $455,000 today. Today. It goes up every freaking day, so keep a close eye on it. And that's what Mike and I are trying to tell you. The sustainability is over. And here's the sadness and what everyone needs to recognize. Everyone in Washington, D.C. designed this, knew they were doing this, and continued to do it by design to create the Great Reset, the
Correct.
global governance. And
Correct.
when you look on there, when you get through looking at the U.S. and you don't become discouraged by it, prepare yourself the best you can, because they can't eat you. And if it's the Great Reset, they've already told us we won't own anything and we're going to be real happy. So they're going to take care of us and we'll be slaves to the system if we survive. But so now you go and you think about, well, what if you just freed that slate? And that's the debt jubilee. And then when you hear people talk about Nasara, Gassara, I don't care whether you believe in that, whether you don't, it doesn't matter. But the bottom line is that something has to break, because it's over for the United States of America. But then you can go and check out the world debt clock. And it gives you the debt versus GDP of every nation on the planet, right? And guess who's got the lowest debt per GDP in the world right now? Vladimir.
I knew it. Russia.
Russia.
Hey, listen, folks. Some of you may be new to the show, and if you are and you're watching right now and you're wondering why you can't join the chat, it's because you have to subscribe to the channel. So if you guys can hit the like button, subscribe, hit that like button if you like what John and I are talking about. Smash that like button for me, and let's get the algorithm up for it. But welcome. I see a lot of new people in the chat, and welcome to LWN. We appreciate you guys being here with us. Share this out if you can. And for those of you who are watching and don't understand why you can't be part of the chat, it's because you have to subscribe to the channel, be part of the chat. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, I would appreciate it. Yeah, Vladimir Putin and Russia, they're obviously, in my opinion, doing something right.
Well, and then you go and when you look at that, there's two columns. One is what the nation owes itself, and then the other one, and they're all in the red. But then you look over there, and it's what they owe the world. And if you want to see an upside down economy, go look at Japan. And that's when look at the European nations. Go look at the nations in Europe and how far whack they are with this debt to GDP. And so the entire globe, the entire world is going through this process. And if you really want to hear something great, we'll clarify some of that during the podcast tomorrow. But when you look at the world and the global situation, if it's the Great Reset, that's one thing. But if it is the Great Awakening, and that means that old boys like me and a lot of patriots around this United States of America, including a lot of folks in the military and some of the handful of patriots that are in government, know this, seen this coming, and knew it was coming, and they hatched a plan. So if their plan works, like Mike said, prepare yourself for a couple of weeks of turmoil, but then things will settle down, and maybe we will all be in a much better place, because if you go by inflation alone, and if you reset the debt clock, then your home would go back to, say, in the cost of everything, vehicles, your house, the prices would go back to 1950s, 1960s level of pricing. And think about what that was like and where the United States was at that time.
We're powerful. We're strong.
Strongest nation on the planet.
We were just coming out of pre-World War II, and we were a very strong nation. We were very industrious. A lot of build here in America, definitely back in those days. And Mark puts out about the Chevron workers going on strike at midnight tonight, and the BNSF, which is a rail system, folks. Workers quitting in droves too. I heard another channel putting that out today. I think it was Sage. I'm telling you right now, folks, prepare for a few dark days. I'm just telling you, you can trust the plan all you want, but I can tell you the plan is not going to include people come to your house and giving you, a box of food and making sure that you're taken care of. Me trusting the plan means I'm going to make sure that my family is taken care of, because when this collapse happens, it's going to cause some dark days for a short period, I believe. And so I just want to make sure that everybody listening has a little bit extra. That's all I'm saying. Just a little bit extra. Make sure you can get through those few days. But yeah, this all has to do with supply chain, and it also has to do with food shortages. So BNSF is a big part of America and getting things across the country. So if they shut down again, that is going to also it's gonna really affect supply chain and a lot of things. I'm I can't say it enough. Just make sure you're
Well,
looking.
and
the
Mike, how
future.
long how long have you? Because I know it's been several months that we have shared the message of preparedness. We've shared the message of having some sound money, silver, gold, whatever you can afford, and anything in exchange. Think about barter. But now, if you're told, because you have to understand, you are patriots. The people of Liberty Warrior Nation are patriotic people, hardworking Americans across a wide diversity, and knowledgeable people seeking what is the truth, because we can't get it from the media outlets that we have. So we've disseminated what we can, and we share with you the truth that we know, what we can verify, what we can prove. And we're telling you, be prepared, and been telling you, be prepared. So rest comfortable, because here's going to be the turmoil. How many people are not going to be prepared? And when the ATM does not work, or they walk up to the Walmart grocery store to get their groceries and their EPT card will not work and won't function, what kind of chaos will pursue? What's going to take place? It'll be a time to be comfortable in your home, relax, and follow the orders, because, and listen, if anybody tries to tell you they know the date and the time, yeah, they're full of crap. It's God's timing.
Mm-hmm.
And all we can hope for is that this community is comfortable and relaxes and has the preparations made, and you can reach out and you can help your neighbors. Be a good neighbor. Be a community. If you're in a large city, stay off the streets. Stay, protect yourself, and stay in your home, and listen to the advice that comes through your TV or over your phone, because there will be conversations that have to be had with the American population and the global population, because this punch, whether it's the Great Reset or the Great Awakening, both of them will appear very much alike. And you won't know the reality of which one is which until days into it. But if it's the one that is the plan and the Great Awakening, you'll know within hours. You will know within a very short period of time. And then you can become the comfort to your community by being able to say, look, just relax. Everything's going to be okay. It's going to be a time frame. Some of the time frame people use 10 days of darkness. Well, I don't know whether we're going to go totally dark. I just can't conceive of that. But I can conceive that something economically is about to snap.
Yeah, we've been reporting. Here and on other channels about other countries actually halting their exports of extra food. So there are warning signs out there, folks, that this is going to happen. When countries are holding back export of extra food, that tells me, and it tells other people that I follow and pay attention to, that they're holding back for a reason. Now, I've said this before: cash will be king for 24 to 48 hours. You will be able to buy anything you need if it's available with cash. So I would make sure you have a little bit of cash on hand. But I can tell you, as soon as they find out that the cash isn't valuable anymore, they won't accept it. So they'll be accepting precious metals or trade. If you got food and they need gas, whatever, or you need gas, there'll be trade. So there'll be things that you can trade for. If you guys need any help with your silver, you can reach out to Miles Franklin and info@milesfranklin.com, and they can help you through that. Silver right now is at $25.42 for silver. Gold is at $1,938. It's up $11 today, so it's still fluctuating. Crude oil was back up. It would drop down under $100 a barrel a few days ago, but now it's back up to 113.76 for crude right now. So the market is still fluctuating, and it's just Man, I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. All the other countries are preparing for it. We should be preparing for it. You should be preparing for it. Just make sure that you can take care of you and yours, and you're going to be able to cruise through this whole thing when this happens, John. And guys like you and I have prepped for this. We're just going to stay home and cruise through it. It's not going to be a big deal to us, but for the ones who haven't done it yet, do it while you can. That's all I'm telling you is do it while you can.
Well, I really believe that because I'm in rural America, and I know everybody in my little community, and the big thing is if you are in a rural community is to calm your neighbors down. Let them know that hey, whatever this looks like and whichever way it's going to go, there'll be people in those rural communities that'll be turned on and switched on to what's happening. And here's the thing, and I think I might have shared this last time. You have something that someone needs, and someone has something that you need, and that's just barter. And that was a way of life, so we're going to take a little time travel and go back to where things really had true value and actual value, and be your brother's keeper and keep calm. And if anybody wants to freak out, you've got older senior citizens in your community, take care and provide for them, assist them, and let them know, look, this had to happen. This is not our design. This is there's nobody in charge of this on either end of it that didn't know and does not know the chaos that's going to ensue when they flip the switch.
Yeah, they're gonna flip the switch. Here's a great question, John. I'm gonna go to you and let you try to answer this. Who will take silver, Mike? I doubt the stores will until the banks, credit unions, etc. I have it. Uh, if they get it. So that's a great question. Let's just hypothetically say that tomorrow morning you wake up and the financial market is absolutely crashed and it's sunk, it's gone. People have got 24, 48 hours to buy what they can real quick with cash. Once cash is no longer king, once there's nothing left on the shelves, how would silver and gold play a part into the barter system and trading and exchange, John? Would you like to answer that?
Yeah, and I could do that real simple. Whatever the market price is per ounce, you can sell it in grams, you can sell it, and that's why some people buy smaller dimes and one thing or another that are silver and a percentage of silver.
Or jump,
But
jump silver?
there will be old folks like me that understand the exchange rate and the exchange value. And if a gallon of gas is $5 and you've got one slab ounce of silver and you've got $25. So you go out there and you top off, and if it's at a little convenience store or some local store in your community, a local gas station, trust me, those people will exchange. They're there, and they will be delighted to receive your silver.
Mm-hmm.
So you have buying power, immense buying power. And the reality is I've got smaller pieces of silver, but because I've got a plan for all of that, I have a little scale and I can test the metal and I know what the content is on the little silver dimes. And there'll be people in your community and you yourself. If you've got 1 ounce Buffalo rounds, today they were 25, what, Mike? 40?
25.14 or 25.42, something like that. They're
Yeah,
worth
well, and
$25.
I think that we'll see it continue to nose its way up. You have to know that right now they still have money. The government still has money. They just got them an influx of 1.5 trillion, so they can play this market in and out and falsely move money back and forth. And I believe that they're actually some of the banks that have silver and purchase silver are now, in order to prop up the market are having to sell their silver, and that's why you see, and monitor it for yourself. Let me give you a little indicator. Stock market down, silver up. Silver down, stock market up. Now you track that for yourself, because I've been tracking it. I did the same thing with crypto and digital currency. When the market is down, crypto is down now. But for a long time, for about a 3-month period, if one dropped, the other one would go up, because they're moving funds back and forth, not to create the panic of the reality. They know the reality. They know the system is broke. They're the ones that broke it. The Federal Reserve knows, and listen, that's the evil. You know, our government couldn't print one single dollar unless the Federal Reserve enticed them to do it. So the central bankers, ours is called, but it's a European bank, but it's the central bank. And every nation has the SWIFT system. Think about what they just did to Putin. Oh, we're going to sanction him. We're going to take him off the SWIFT system. And you know what he did? He laughed, because he knows that the SWIFT system is what destroyed the Soviet Union. He has the history. He knows they destroyed it and split it up, and by design. That was their design, and they've always wanted to capture all of Russia. Why? The vast mineral wealth of Russia. It's immense. It's massive.
Yeah.
So they know that. But at any rate,
well, here, let me
People will
answer.
exchange.
Let me answer a couple more of those questions. You hit it there, John, but they're still asking the questions. So I have silver, and let's say you have chickens, maybe you even have a milk cow. I don't know. Maybe you have a garden, and I need a couple dozen eggs, and I need some vegetables out of your garden, and I have a silver coin that's worth $25. If you tell me that you want $5 a dozen for your eggs, and I want 2 dozen eggs, well, that's $10, and the vegetables come up to $15, then I'll give you my silver coin, and you give me the groceries that I need. That's one form of trade. I seen some people in there that said that they have skill sets. Yes, exactly.
Yep.
If somebody needs your specific skill set, let's just say John needs an electrician because he lost power to his house. Well, I come over. I'm an electrician, and I tell him, well, John, it's going to take me an hour to fix this, and I need two silver coins to fix it for you. Well, if he agrees with that trade, then I fix the problem, and he drops me a couple of silver coins. Now, yes, you can trade all kinds of things for silver. You can trade beans, coffee beans for eggs if you want. I mean, it's going to be a barter system, so it depends on the person who needs an item and the person that has that item, how they're going to barter. There's going to be no like exact pricing for bartering. It's what I mean. If I go to somebody and they tell me they want $50 for a dozen eggs, I'm going to turn around and say, I don't need eggs that bad. You can keep them for $50. You know, that's bartering. You're going to go back and forth. You're going to agree on a price between the two individuals. It's not going to be a nationwide pricing system. It's going to be between two individuals, and that's
and listen, that is true commerce. And think about it, and go back into the Word of God, into the Bible. You know, yeah, okay, there were money changers, but most of the commerce between people was, well, okay, she sews, she can make me a dress, or she can make me a pair of pants or whatever. He makes sandals, he makes pottery. And you exchange what it is that you do. What service can you provide? What is it that, you know, oh, I got a 50-pound bag of rice, and you want to exchange? Okay. I'd like to have some scrambled eggs with my rice. Well, we'll work the deal, and that's all it is. It's an exchange. And the electrician comes to the house and says, look, I need, I'd have to have two silver dollars. Or you could say, well, look, I've only got $1 silver, but I'll tell you what I do. I do have a 5-gallon can of gas back there, and I'll let you have that 5-gallon can of gas. So, but it's exchange. It's commerce.
Yeah.
It's the way it's supposed
And
to
it's
be.
actually better because you're not paying
Fair.
taxes on that, John. You're not
No,
paying taxes on it.
no,
If I come to your
no.
house and do that work and you give me 2 silver coins, I'm not going to go report it to a collapsed government and have to pay taxes on those 2 silver coins. If I swap you a bag of beans for a gallon of milk, we're not paying. It's the best form of commerce that you could possibly have. Our government has tainted this. They have controlled us. They have thrown us into a slave system, folks. I
They
look
use legal.
forward to this.
They legalized their crime.
Correct.
Understand, the federal government is not part of this nation. It doesn't operate. It's a corporation that is broke. It's belly up. But the states aren't belly up because the states still have people that have the ability to exchange within the state. We can go back and restore the Constitution to the Constitution of the United States and become United States, to where states then can commit into commerce between themselves. That it doesn't all have to stop just because that 10 square miles went to hell,
Yeah.
because that's where they're at.
Here's another great question from Janet, John. A lot of good questions, folks. I'm going to try to focus on chat here and get your questions. She says, "I'm confused. Will there be electric bills and property tax? How will we pay our bills if there's a financial collapse?" That's a great question.
Well, and I'll tell you what. So now you have to go back and look at how the central bankers handled the Great Depression, because the central bank was in place for the Great Depression, and look at how they did that. And a lot of people lost their homes. A lot of people and they didn't lose them because the banker just wouldn't take them more, because they couldn't pay the tax. And if you have property tax and you're in a high property tax area, well, that's going to be an issue. But here's the thing: go back and read The Grapes of Wrath and understand that even in the Depression, that the banks were just people inside your community bankers, and they didn't want your house. Who was going to buy it? So they went months and months before they would ever go through any foreclosure process. And trust me, it was a hell of a time of recovery. But how did they do it? It got to where a guy would work for $2 a day, but $2 a day would actually have $2 worth of hard value. So there's no need to panic.
No.
Because whatever system, they're not just going to do away. What are they going to do with all the houses, folks? Think about it. Either if it's the Great Reset and they tell you will own nothing and you'll be happy, it's because they'll actually have you sign over your house to them. But what are they going to do with it? Where are they going to put you? Where are they going to, you have to think about that. There's no ability to do that. And they will offer us a new system of exchange. It'll be an exchange system. And I hope and pray that it's one backed by gold and silver and platinum, whatever they got to do to accomplish it. But we go back to sound money. And when we go back to sound money, you'll have real currency that is of value in exchange. So the quantum financial system, there's a lot about it when you read about it and how it will be structured. It eliminates the ability for drug dealers to sell drugs for dollars. You cripple them. You bankrupt their butts.
Yeah.
Because everything people got to understand, if it's a quantum financial system and it's a digitized system, and everything that they print will have a digital footprint to it, to where when you draw it out, John got it here. And what did John do? When John goes and purchases and buys with it and uses it, that's when the tax will take place. If I buy something new, it'll have a tax rate attached to it. And then I pay that tax. And then that person that took that exchange, then they're now, they've got to account for what they did with that currency, because currency will be. How many of you use a debit card in chat? Just slap a 1 in there if you actually use a debit card that's got a chip implanted in it right now?
Well, me, I do. That's for sure.
I,
I have
want to know
cash.
somebody that
I,
does.
I always carry cash on me, but I definitely use my debit card. And here's another great question. Maybe in the collapse, the central bank will go away. And that was a question from Harvest Mary Moon to you, Johnny.
Absolutely.
I don't want people to be afraid of this. It could be a very short period, just a couple of days. It could be a week. It could be 10 days. I don't know what will transpire. We're just trying to give you guys a heads up, and it it could go really wrong where it's a lot longer than 10 days. I don't know what to expect. I just want to plan
None of us do.
and prep for it and just make sure that I can take care of my families. I saw a comment, I think it was from B Cats, that said, well, when people can't find what they need, they're going to come to your house and they're going to come searching your property. That is definitely a possibility. So I wouldn't put anything where it's easily found. That's all I'm saying.
That or have an investment in lead.
Yeah, something have an investment in a lot of lead and protect you and your family. I mean, you have that right.
You have that right.
And
let's talk about the reality of what I know, and this is facts that I know. 208, maybe 209 now nations, and now when I'm not talking little, China, India, Brazil, Vietnam, Iraq, many nations have gone off of the U.S. petrodollar. Mm-hmm. The world reserve currency is collapsing because people have found that they can have gold-backed digital currency. 208 nations have a gold-backed digital currency that they can exchange without going through the SWIFT, the Federal Reserve Central Banking System. They no longer have to use SWIFT to trade. And that's exactly what India told Joe Biden. That's what Brazil told Joe Biden, that they weren't going to, they didn't use SWIFT to deal with Russia and to exchange with Russia, and that they didn't have any interest in cutting off their commerce because of COVID and everything that they're suffering through and the shortages. They weren't going to short their people, their citizens, because of a war with Vladimir Putin. And they already had these exchange currencies set up and have been set up for months. So the system outside of the Swiss system is operating.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of it is already operating. They just need to usher it in. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys is it's already been here. It's been here for a very long time. They just got to figure out a way to shift it all over, right? It's going to be a shift. We got to get away from the old and go to the new, whatever that new is. And
listen, they had you've got to know that anytime. We know our history. We had grandparents and parents that knew about the Great Depression and that massive struggle that was, and that was created by the central banking system. And then everything that we saw, the tech market debacle and the collapse of the NASDAQ, that was all done by the central banking system. The stock market collapse and the housing derivatives and all that criminality that took place to where they allowed Lehman Brothers to collapse, all carried out by the central banking system, because they have not hidden the fact that they want a single world governance, not government, governance, to where there would be no borders, all borders would disappear. They've not hidden any of that. Well, what they did do by revealing it, there are patriots and nationalists. And when you think of nationalists, think of the president of Hungary. And there's a handful of Poland and a handful of European nations in the European Union that have gone to a digital gold-backed currency to maintain their national sovereignty. They would not open their borders to accept people like Germany did. They told Germans in the European Union, no, we're not going to do that. And how were they portrayed by the United States of America? Oh, that's some tyrant dictators. Hell no. They're people that love their country. How did they paint Mr. T? A man that said America first, make America great again. And tell me what was wrong with that philosophy, because you know what Mr. T knew? That every trade agreement that was made from 1990 from Richard Nixon with China, every trade agreement was about redistributing the wealth of the United States of America to the rest of the planet. And that was part of the SWIFT central banking system. Destroy the American people, bring them down to a level to where they'd be willing to live on $17,000 a year and be happy. And they would go get their food at the distribution center at Walmart and they would be happy, but they'll own nothing. And they'll be happy because we're going to provide them food, we'll provide them shelter, and they'll be happy. They won't have to, they'll work. And here's the thing, you got to know that the world governance is all surrounded by collectivism. Well, now what is attached to the collectivism mentality? Communism. So we know that. Mr. T knew that. And what did he stand in his last address to the United Nations? And he proclaimed to the entire United Nations in the world, the United States of America will never become a socialist communist nation. Yeah. Drop the mic and let's go.
my phone is blowing up. I got Jeff B texting me right now. I got other people texting me right now, and I'm trying to get all these. I'm trying to get all these questions because there's some really good questions. I want to make a comment before you answer this one, John. So there was a question asking about credit unions. Is the money safe in credit unions? What about the money in banks? How do we store precious metals? Another one is best way to store precious metals. I want to make a comment on your money that's in the bank. I am not a financial advisor. I know some people believe that there will be a system that comes in, and so for every dollar that you have in the bank, it's going to go over to this other system. That may be the case. I don't know that for a fact. I'm not going to tell you that for a fact.
Nope.
Because I don't know. Now, if you believe in the Sara Jasara, God bless you.
Yeah.
I don't believe. I don't believe that of some of that stuff. I definitely have said it here on this show. Them taking your money and transferring over into something else, unless this is the Great Awakening, then that is possible. But if it's not the Great Awakening, if it's the Great Reset, I'd have to say that I would disagree with that. So you do with your money what you feel is right. I can't tell you what to do with that. I'm just telling you, it may be safe and it may not. To me, it's like a 50-50. You're either going to be safe with it in the bank or you're not going to be safe with it in the bank. You can take it out, and if it's paper, if you take your cash out of the bank and then paper goes away, then it has no value. Then I guess you can take it out back and throw it in your burning barrel and have a nice warm fire. I don't know. But it's definitely something that you should at least maybe reach out to other people and get better advice than what I could give you. I have no money in the bank.
Well, I keep some. And here's the thing. Live your life just like you're living it. If that's where you're credit unions, have no fear about a credit union. Have no fear about the banks, because here's the possibilities, folks. If it is the Great Awakening, and there will be a gold-backed currency, it will take time to get that system operational, to switch out the Federal Reserve debt notes for that currency. But everything will be on a ledger. QFS is quantitative financial system. And everything will be ledgered from the day they flip the switch. Whatever you have in the credit union will be secured, and it will be an exchange rate. And then whatever you've got in the bank, it'll be secure, and there'll be an exchange rate for that.
Mhm.
If it's the Great Reset, there won't be any, it'll be a cashless society, and you will have social credits. But you'll still have something that is of value to you. So here's the thing. That's when we'll know which system did we get.
Correct.
Because right now, anybody that tells you they know, they're full of crap. No one knows because this possibility's been thrown out there. And when you talk about Gusera, Nacera, and the pipe dream that some people peddle, no, go and read and understand everything. That would take 10 years to fully roll out. But here's the thing. It doesn't take but just a week or so to get the new notes, the gold-backed currency, that could go into place immediately. And then they will clarify what will happen with the prosperity, because those packages, prosperity packages, are meant to distribute gold around the entire world to facilitate the switch from the SWIFT debt system to solid monetary backing. And each nation will have the sound footing. If you have an Iraqi dinar, it will be worth one American rainbow dollar, whatever, I don't care what you call it. But for these people that think, well, they're going to send me back all of my taxes that I paid over my lifetime. Bull, BS, folks. Think about that. We still have to be able to work. But now, could we get a society built to where we no longer have to have our wife work? And a man could go and work work a 30-hour week instead of a 40-hour week and sustain himself. Yes, that's the overall mission, but it doesn't happen overnight. Anybody that's peddling that pipe dream has not read it and they don't understand it. You know, the folks that have understanding of it are not John and Mike, because I'm not a financial. I don't give financial advice.
I'm just trying to give people reality of both scenarios.
Yes.
I don't support either one of them. I'm not supporting the Great Reset. I don't want the Great Reset, nor do I support the other one. I don't support it. I don't. Yeah. There's a lot of it that I don't believe in. So, but what I will say is I believe that something will happen. It may be a combination of both. It may be one. It may be the other. I have no idea. I don't have that inside information. For people who are peddling that and putting that out there, that they're inside this elite circle and they're getting all this information. Do you really honestly think that they would put out this information to people? I mean, come on, man. You got to wake up. It's
no way.
I just don't believe that somebody has this unique ability of inside information and they're getting told everything to tell us. Come on, man.
And that's, let me tell you something. I believe so much of that is people that are drifting off of a dream. And I don't like to use that word, but I mean, that's what they're doing. They're peddling a pipe dream that they don't know because no one's told them. They're not going to let us know until it happens. And then it'll be up for us to discern which one did we get. If it's a cashless society, then we'll know we got the Great Reset. If it's a gold-backed currency, we'll know that we got the Great Awakening. And then here's the thing, will there be, because if you go to sound money, understand this nation was on sound money for hundreds of years. When you go back to sound money, like I said earlier, all the inflated values of homes and everything will go back to a market rate. And I would guess 1950, 1960, somewhere in there, maybe the 70s. It doesn't matter. The rate of everything will decline because you'll have sound money. That sound money will be $1 will be worth a freaking dollar. It'll have $1 purchasing power.
Let me give people some hope here real quick, John, and then I need to roll into final thoughts.
Okay.
I don't support either one of them because I don't know. But let me give you a little bit of a hint. of what may be coming our way. We've already talked about it on this show. There are already states out there that have gold back currency. Okay. Do you think that those states would have gold back currency if we're going to shift to the cashless society? I do not believe so.
Me neither.
So if I had to lean a direction, wink, wink, wink. If I had to lean a direction, I would say, since there are states out there putting out gold back currency, then I would say that might be a hint in the direction that we may be shifting to. That's all I'm going to say. You take it for what that's worth. John, I appreciate you hopping up here with me. We had Shane here for a little while, but he must have been having some high blood pressure. He bailed out on us, but that's okay.
What happened to Snafu?
I haven't heard from him, so I don't know. We'll just have to reschedule. We'll reschedule and Snafu will hop up. But thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. So let's roll into final thought, and then I got to get off of here. It was a great conversation, John, and I appreciated Shane hopping up here too and giving us his opinion of the situation. You can tell he's frustrated with what's going on. He's sick and tired of it. I think there's so many people that are. I'm telling you all right now, I haven't been more excited in probably over 6 months. It has been a long time since I could come on camera in front of all you guys, in front of this mic, and tell you that I am excited for what I'm seeing and the shift that I think will happen. And I'm just telling you guys, keep the faith, chin up, stand tall. Keep moving the line forward because it is going to happen.
Yeah. And that's very comforting. And that's what I want everybody to be comfortable. Yep. Because there are more signs to the Great Awakening and going to a sound money system, because 208 nations trading in digital gold without the SWIFT system. If that's not an indicator, folks, I don't know what is. Just like Mike said, a state setting up digital currency inside that state. Understand if it's gold back. Understand what Vladimir. Go and look at the gold purchases that Russia made and wiping down its old debt on the SWIFT system. And then finally pushing the trigger that forced Mr. Biden to say, we're going to put some sanctions. We're taking you off of SWIFT. And Vladimir then sitting and grinning ear to ear saying, thanks. And that's one thing. Right now, nothing on that idiot box, nothing on television is true. Nothing. They're not telling you the truth about so many things that have driven them. They're going over the edge. You didn't buy their lie on the big C. You didn't line up and go get your vacation. You didn't follow the narrative that they portrayed. And you educated, and then you educated what, Mike, on Podbean, 76,000 people downloading from Podbean to come get truth. Mm-hmm. You are the news. You are the news to your neighbor. They may not choose to believe anything you say because it freaks them out. Because guess what they believe? Oh, everything will be okay. We're just going to roll through this for another couple of years, and then we'll probably elect Mr. T again. BS, folks. There's too much going and taking place now. It won't. The folks that want to hold out for the midterm, God bless you. I don't believe it can last that much longer. I think that too many things on the world stage are taking place, and you got to understand the sovereignty of nations and how all of this history and who laid out the evil history that destroyed the Soviet Union. And I already told you, it was the central banking system and the United States military threat from Mr. Ronnie Reagan and the spending of $3 trillion of your debt to force them to a place where they could not get any more loans from the central bank. Central bank gave Reagan $3 trillion to beef up our nuclear arsenal. And what did they tell the Soviet? Oh, no, you're cut off. We're not going to give you anything else. So that's history. Same history then when you look at China and Taiwan. Go back and read the freaking history. Understand that Taiwan belonged to China. Look at World War II, folks, and go back and think of the people that sat at Yalta and how they drew up with the Bank of London and the Federal Reserve Bank and Mr. Roosevelt and Mr. Stalin. And they went there and they hatched the plan and divided up the globe. Well, Stalin was on the outside of the global design. They just wanted to keep the big red man happy. That was the whole deal. And at that time, no one even worried about China. China was invaded by Japan, for Christ's sake. All right, guys. But anyhow, rest in peace. Stay in the Word of God, please.
Amen.
Get in the good book, folks.
Amen. Join us every Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here for Devotions with LW. And here is my final thought. Y'all, you either love me or you hate me, and that's fine. I have a lot of people that watch that hate me, and that's okay. Thanks for the views. But here, I don't live in fantasy land. I live in reality, and I'm really trying hard to bring as much reality to you guys as I possibly can. With that being said, I got to say this. Donald Trump has never left us.
No.
Donald Trump knows, in my opinion, what's going on. Whatever that is, he is well aware of it. And like I said before, gold-backed currency, I believe, is going to be part of our future. I don't know if I can wink any more than that. And I really believe that this shift is going to take us in a direction that is going to be truly amazing. You just got to stay the course with us, because I'm telling you, everything that I see out there right now, it's not looking well for the other side. And that's all I'm going to say in my final thought. So thanks for joining us this evening, folks. I really appreciate it. We had a great conversation, John, as always. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's Podbean. So it's going to be an exciting time tomorrow, too. We'll bring you guys some more information. If you guys want to join us over there, that'd be great. So with that being said, we will check us out, libertywarriornation.com. You guys can contact us and get information there. That's our website. It's been up for quite a while, and we will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for daily devotions with LW, and then we'll be back later tomorrow night. We have so much going on. You guys, if you haven't liked, subscribed, or shared this out, please do so. Stay in tune with what's going on, because we're gonna be talking about a lot of things in the coming days. There's gonna be so much information you're not gonna want to miss. So thanks for being with us tonight, John. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, brother. God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you too.
God bless the Liberty Warrior Nation. You guys warrior on.
All right, love y'all. God bless.
Hoping for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment, to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I you can blend in with the crowd. I'm so scared, so damn afraid to look. I'm so sick of talking. I'm wearing the words out, words out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. When it feels like everyone's out to get me, I see the river on the bank.